Today I'm showing you guys my new settings to rock here after the season 5 update for Modern Warfare 3. This settings right here is going to help you guys be a better player overall when it comes to Modern Warfare 3, help you guys get easy nukes, overall help the visibility on your game, overall making Modern Warfare 3 a lot more enjoyable when it comes to looks and when it comes to feel. So I do play on PC when it comes to Call of Duty. For the graphic settings for display, we are on display full screen. This is my monitor's name right here, so whatever monitor that you do have, the name will pop up right here. My display adapter, or better known as my graphics card, I have a 3090 Ti in it. My refresh rate, or also better known as my hertz for my monitor, is going to be 240 hertz. My resolution on my monitor as well as 1440. I personally do think 1440 is the best way to play Call of Duty in general, because once you go from 1080 to 1440, you will never go back to 1080 again. That I can guarantee you for a fact. These monitors are a lot more expensive, but they are worth the price in my personal opinion. Aspect ratio, we have to set that to automatic. For the display gamma, we have this regular to sRGB. My brightness that's defaulted to 50. For the NVIDIA reflex low latency, we have that on. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure that's how the game really came. For the sustainability section of this display tab, we have the echo mode on efficiency. We have on the VSync gameplay off, and for the VSync menus, we have it set to 100%. The frame rate is going to be set to custom, so we can just max out the frames when it comes to the game. For the menu render resolution, that's also set to optimal. Pause game rendering, that's off. Focus mode is set to 90, which is also default how the game came. We have HDR off. In my personal opinion, I think HDR makes the game very dark, so I do turn it off. And it also does make your PC kind of lag in a certain way. Now for the quality tab, for my global graphic settings, that's going to be set to custom, because we did change a lot of these settings as well. For your render resolution, we'll make sure you have that set to 100. But depending on what your monitor size is, if like mine is set to 100, so it's gonna be 1440. If you have a 1080 monitor and you set it to 100, it'll show 1080 on the left side. For the upscale / sharpening, you wanted to use the Philadelphia FX cache. It's the best one you can rock when it comes to this sharpness of the game. And you want to hit square on that, and you want to make sure that the strength is set to 100, so it's maxed out, so your game can look absolutely pretty. For the path plus ray tracing construction, I did set that to off, because when I did have this on before, it made my PC lag for some odd reason, so I just turned that off. For the VRAM scale target, that's set to 70, which is default. The variable rate shading is set to off as well. For details and textures, we have a lot of these things set to low, so texture resolution set to low. Texture filter is going to be set to normal. My depth of field is off, so the game is not blurry when it comes to certain ranges. My detail and particle resolution is going to be set to both low. Bullet impacts, that's a personal preference settings, but I personally did turn it off. For the persistent effects is also set to off. Shader quality is going to be set to low. The on-demand texture is going to be set to on, which it basically just downloads things in the back, but it doesn't hurt the game's performance, but just downloads things in the back to look a lot more pretty. For the local texture streaming quality, that's also set to normal, which is going to be pretty much default. For the shadow and lighting category, my shadow quality is going to be set to low. For the screen space shadow is also set to low as well. The ambient collision will be set to both. For the screen space reflection, we have set that to normal. For static reflection quality, is also set to low as well. Now for the environment, tessellation is going to be set to near. My volume metric quality is going to be set to low. The deferred physics quality is also set to low as well. Water grid is also set to low, and water quality is also low as well. A lot of these things are going to be low just because it's Call of Duty. You don't need to have Call of Duty in the most insane amount of graphics. You want to make sure you have the most amount of frames, so your game is a lot more smoother. That's what you want to do when it comes to Call of Duty. Now for the field, my field of view is going to be 120. FOV is the best thing that ever happened to Call of Duty, and 120 is the best one in my personal opinion. For the ADS field of view, that's going to be set to effective. This right here literally makes the gun a lot more smaller, and also gets rid of any sort of visual recoil that a gun can possibly have. So if you aren't rocking effective, I suggest you do try this out. Weapon field of view is going to be set to Y, so also does make the gun look a lot smaller. For the third person field of view, that's set to default just to 90. Vehicle field of view is also set to default. I didn't touch any of that. Now for these settings right here for the camera, make sure you have the weapon. You want to make sure you have the world motion blur off, because no matter what setting you have on, or if you have on both, whenever you do anything in the game, it makes the game a lot blurry. So you want to make sure you turn both these settings off. Same thing with the field grain settings as well. It makes the game look a lot more choppy at further ranges. So definitely turn this setting off. For the first person camera movement, we'll make sure you set that to the least possible, and that's going to be 50%, just so your screen doesn't shake as much whenever you just are playing the game. Also have on the third person camera movement that's set to default. I didn't change any of these settings right here, especially when it comes to the third person. For the inverted flash, I did have that on because I don't want to go blind by the time I'm 25 with these damn flash grenades and stuff like that. So this right here definitely does come in clutch with the screen turning black. All right, so now for the audio section of the settings, we have on the headphone bass boost settings. My headset that I do rock is going to be the Astro A40s with the Pro Tier mix amp, or Pro TR mix amp, however you want to word it. That's my headset that I've been rocking for the last couple of years, and it's been my favorite thing ever since I got them. For the default speakers right here, we have set the default system. A lot of these settings when it comes to the volume is just based on like whatever you have plugged into your PC. So that's exactly what I did, set this to default. For the speaker output, put that to stereo. You can test your settings right here. This actually is pretty new, I'll be honest with you. You can just test your volume. For the master volume, obviously you want to set that to 100, and the rest you can just change them to however you want to make your game feel when it comes to just the loudness of it all. But the master volume overall should be on 100, so you can hear everything. I'm just going to pretty much just scroll through this tab right here, because like I said, this tab right here is pretty much whatever you do have plugged into your PC, and I didn't change any of these things right here. I kept them all strictly default, except for the hit marker sound. I did change that to the classic one as well. So for the interface tab as well, once again, this also is just a personal preference when it comes to just making your game look nice and how you want it to look. My subtitles obviously going to be set to default. I don't use subtitles at all. My color customization, I get this question a lot. People ask me if I'm colorblind, and obviously no, I am not colorblind. I have no colorblind settings on as well. We can scroll here and you can see color filter is set to no, but I did change how I want my enemies to look. I set my enemies to like this light blue, and you can literally change this to any color. You can even make colors on here. They've been doing this ever since Modern Warfare 2 last year. So if we make a game just look a lot more different and look a lot more pleasable when it comes to just looking at it, bro, I suggest you change the color to make this thing look a lot more pretty. That's what I did. Honestly, I might change this color as well. So for the HUD settings right here, you make sure you have the HUD bound set to just as literally thin as possible. My personal opinion, I've always set it as wide as possible to have the mini map all the way up to the top left, but I figured once you bring it in, it makes the mini map a lot easier to look at instead of you looking all the way to the top of your screen. So I did make the HUD bounds a lot smaller this year. For my mini map, we make sure you have it set to square, because square allows you to see more and get a lot more information than the circle map does. You can clearly see that from the picture. You have on the mini map rotation, obviously, so it can help you read the map a lot easier. Horizontal compass, that's a personal preference, and whenever it comes to Call of Duty, me personally, I did turn it off. Crosshairs, we'll make sure you set that to on, but we'll make sure you have on this center dot as well, because using the crosshair dot that has like the 4 dashes, it sways a lot, so make sure you're centering a lot harder. So if you put on the center dot, it makes it a lot easier to center when it comes to Call of Duty. Then you want to set it to the largest scale as possible. So for the hit marker visuals, we have that set to on. Same thing for the damage based hit markers as well, just to tell when you are getting a kill. Player names, we make sure you have that set to full, just so you can make the visibility on further players away a lot more better. In-game text, we set that to on. That's all default. Same thing with the vehicle hub prompts, and also squad health and stamina. Telemetry is basically whatever you have on the top left of your screen. Only three that I personally do need is just my FPS counter, server latency, and packet loss. Literally everything I need and on telemetry is literally right there. All the other stuff, in my personal opinion, are just useless. For the telemetry label size, you can actually change this to the larger, or you can make it a lot smaller. I like it to be a lot more compact and smaller. And for the menu side of everything right here, everything is set to pretty much default. I didn't change any of these settings whatsoever. Now for the part that people are probably really here for is going to be the controller tab of this setting. Obviously I do play on the controller. I do have a Scuff Impact PS4 controller. I have 2 paddles on the back of my controller. 1 paddle on the left is going to be for punch, and the other paddle on the right is going to be for jumping. I am planning on getting a camera soon, so hand cams will be coming soon as well. For the edit button layout, we have that set to default. Bumper ping is going to be set to off. For the flip layout, we have this set to R1 and L1. It's going to be on, so I shoot with R1 and L1 as well. My controller vibration is going to be set to off, because controller vibration is one of the worst things that happens to Call of Duty. I haven't used vibration in years, so if you do use vibration, I ain't gonna lie, you're part of the weird side of Call of Duty people. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. Dead zone is literally what stick drift you want to have on your controller. You can limit it to the best of your ability. You can also test this out as well. I have my dead zone set to 5 for each stick, but you can test it out, and as you clearly can see, I have a lot more dead zone in my controller, but I don't want to put it too high, because if you put it too high, it also makes the delay on your controller a lot more stronger. So 5 or max 10 is the max you want to go when it comes to dead zone. For the aiming tab, my sensitivity is going to be set to 7.7, but if you do press square on these settings, you have the advanced horizontal stick sensitivity. Make sure you set that to 1, and the way that you do change this is literally going up to custom, changing this to whatever you want it to be, then going back to the actual setting number that you want to put, then you put your sensitivity back on. That's how you do it for both of these settings. A lot of these settings right here are going to be set to just default. Aim response curve type is going to be dynamic. I heard a lot of people say that linear, which is the best one in my personal opinion in this game, even though a lot of people have been telling me that this isn't the best one. But honestly, God, what I've heard, what I've seen, this is the best one to rock when it comes to Call of Duty in general. So it's going to keep scrolling on through, and literally a lot of these settings are just default. I didn't change any of these controller settings as well. Same thing for the gameplay tab. One thing I did change right here when it comes to this is going to be the automatic tactical sprint, just so I don't break in my controller as much. We have on the slide behavior set to slide only, because I want to slide cancel as smooth as possible. But when it comes to the rest of these settings right here, a lot of these are just set to default to how the game came. I didn't change any of these settings whatsoever. All of them are just strictly just default to whenever you're new to loading up this game. So this is my settings to rock here when it comes to season 5. I want you guys to comment down below if you are enjoying season 5 here from Modern Warfare 3. I'll see you guys in the next one.